Okay, this is going to be a brief advertisement on what I'm into in this latest project that I'm doing, and I want you guys to follow it. So go on your computer, and I want you to search the African Nations Cup, which is a soccer cup, right? And it's going to get interesting because I was doing a little bit of research yesterday on some topics in trading, and I wasn't even aware of this cup. And I pull up some information about trading pertaining to the ones. And I predicted that based on this information that I found that based on yesterday, if a one didn't drop, and yesterday was the deadline, that it was going to change the value of the ones. So in American sports, from what I saw, I'm still looking up for more information, but the ones didn't drop. But I found something more disturbing, which almost seems like a glitch in the media, because I found a story pertaining to this African Nations World Cup. It was out of France, a news story, right? And they were claiming that Morocco wasn't going to participate in the World Cup, in the African Nations World Cup. So what I did was that I pulled up the African Nations and found out that a 1-0 dropped, and it was between Algeria and Libya. And it's now a media conspiracy to cover up what they found from that 1-0 binary code, which is a glitch in time. And you're going to start to find out that a lot of these world championship games have already been played. And I was telling people this, and they're replaying them out. This is how a lot of people are winning a lot of money, and a lot of people are going to lose a lot of money that's betting on sports because they're replaying out an old script. And it's getting crazy because now they're getting to the point where they're manufacturing news to try to keep up with what's going on. We're following this money. But I found out this information on the dark web. So what I'm trying to do now is I have to do an appraisal to find out how much is a 1-0 game worth. That's what it's going to come down to. When you see in sports, for your sports heads out there that are, may agree or disagree with what I'm saying, how much is it worth? Is it worth more or less? I know it is, but I'm saying when a game like that is played, is it really $1 million to zero? And that's what we're going to find out today, because the American League did not drop a 1-0 from my research yesterday. None of the American leagues. Like, what I mean by that is, like in hockey, which is one of the only leagues that you could do it in right now, there was no annuity drop, but there was an international annuity of 1-0 binary code. And they've been wanting me to explain it. My fans, they're like, when you going to explain the ones? What do you mean by the ones dropping and the ones dropping? That's where the slang term from the streets came from, keep it 100. And all of that came from the ones, because this represents an annuity or a beginning. So now we're in a new beginning again. Morocco, from my research, is participating in this African Nations World Cup against Sudan. And like I said on the French media story, which was on YouTube, believe it or not, they claimed that Morocco was pulling out. I don't know what they meant by that terminology, but I guess they mean in reference to Algeria. Now, this is going to get interesting. Algeria has now claimed independence through the Western Sahara based on that annuity. And Morocco kind of just, from what the news story was saying, kind of just took their hand out of it and gave it to them as a kingdom and gave it to Algeria. So now the Western Sahara is controlled by Algeria, which is going to take us into the ownership of what I've been trying to tell people that's going to come, the final showdown between what I call the trees on this planet. See, the trees on this planet are a gift. And they're owned. They're owned. I'm going to go into it, extraterrestrial story. They're owned, and what's going to happen is that until we find out who owns them, or until we know who owns them, but until proper monies are compensated, this is going to be your next epic little battle. It may turn into possibly, it's just a battle right now. They're calling it a spat in London, but it might turn into World War III, because I mean, this is dealing with trees, and I don't think you guys realize from an occult scenario what this is really saying. So this is what I'm on. A lot of this may be hard for you to follow, so I'm gonna make this a part 2 to a video that I did. No, I can't make it a part 2 because of the annuity, but you can watch a video I did called Protecting Your Family from 1-0 Binary Code. That'll help you to understand this video more, regardless to what I'm going to title it. But yeah, this could lead to a major war, because you're talking about currencies. You're like, why? What are you talking about? When you talk about this type of stuff, international points and games and sports, you deal with currencies. Anytime a 1-0 drops, whatever currency it's up under, they want to claim ownership over all bets after that. So we going into, a deep time. I mean, with the playoffs this weekend and things of that nature, it's going to change the money structure. And that's what I teach people, like, on the sports level. What is it? What type of money is really backing this stuff? So I'll be coming up with more information as time permits. But I know they use the dinar. They use the dinar, so that's their currency. Totally different value and different. Each currency has a different commodity backing it. You got to remember that. So when you look at the values that it has to the dollar, don't get mistaken a lot of times, because you're talking about commodities, though. I mean, Western Sahara, Algeria, they have much oil and very rich land over there, even though it's a desert too. But it's up under that desert is what they really arguing over, and that's what made the one drop and what they discovered, and that's what I'll cover in the future. What did they discover up under that desert that made that annuity drop? We coming up with more. So it's funny how sports and the occult is now kind of crossing paths. Stay vigilant, keep studying. Namaste.